Hi, thank you for joining us here at Tax Talk UK, where we talk about all things tax and other money related topics to do with earning money. So we've been asked if we could briefly cover repaying your student loan. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Before I start on that, if I could please ask you to take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you will easily be able to refer back to this information if you need to, as well as being able to find other information that we have on a whole wide range of topics to do with the money that you earn and the taxes that you pay and things that will be of use to you. So on to student loans then. So if you took out a student loan for your degree course, most people understand that once you start to earn a certain amount of money, then you start to pay a percentage of that money. You start to repay your student loan. So if you don't earn up to the threshold, then you won't pay anything, but it's always important that your employer knows whether you have had a student loan and which plan you are on. So the plans can cause a little bit of confusion. It's important to understand which plan that you're on. So in England, we're mostly going to be looking at plan 1 or plan 2. So plan 1 is if you started your course before the 1st of September 2012, then you will be on plan 1. If you started after that time, then you will be on plan 2. So it's as simple as that to know which plan. And the reason that it's important for your employers to know which plan you're on is because the threshold and the repayments are slightly different depending on what plan. So if you are on plan 2, for example, the threshold, so the amount that you need to earn before you start making your repayments is slightly higher. So if your employer doesn't know what plan you're on, then they won't know at what point to start making deductions and how much to deduct. So basically, once you meet the threshold, then for that pay period, your employer will make a deduction at the appropriate percentage. And in the description, I'm going to pop the link so then you can see the exact threshold and the percentage that you would expect to pay. I should probably mention that there is a plan 4 that relates to Scotland and some EU areas, and there is a separate scheme for the postgraduate loan. So I have only really focused on plans 1 and 2 because that is the likely catchment of the audience that are likely to be watching, are likely to be either plan 1 or plan 2. So then what will happen is if you're an employee, then as you know, you get your pay, and before you actually get that into your bank, your employer will make a deduction for the tax, national insurance, potentially pension, contributions, and then whatever's left they will pay you. So if you earn over the threshold, then they will also make the appropriate deduction for your student loan and pay that to HMRC. And of course you can at any time contact the student loan company to find out the balance on your student loan overall. So if you're an employee, you don't really need to worry too much other than making sure that your employer knows that you have a student loan to repay. Their software will do the rest for them. Now, this can be particularly important if you are increasing in your salary and you're underneath the threshold, because it could be that a bonus, some overtime could just tip you over the threshold. So if you make sure that your employer knows, then if that happens, then the deduction will automatically happen. If you are supposed to be making repayments and you earn over the threshold, your employer should get a prompt from HMRC to notify them, but please don't rely on that. Now, if you are self-employed and you are submitting a self-assessment tax return and declaring your self-employment income on there, then your student loan repayments will be calculated with your tax and national insurance on your calculation, and that is how you will pay it along with your tax and national insurance, which we cover when the payments are due, and things like payments on account in a different video. But basically you will pay your student loan repayments along with your tax and national insurance if you are earning over the threshold. The other thing that's important to say is that it is possible for people to have more than one student loan, and again, which plan you are on is just a simple date that you started the course. So it is possible that you could have a loan on different plans. So it's important to be aware of what loan that you have, or if you've got more than one loan. So sometimes people might sort of be thinking, oh, I've run over the threshold and this hasn't been deducted, that's great. Actually isn't great, because you are liable to make those payments, and if for some reason your employer doesn't deduct them, or if you don't tick the right box on your tax return to say that you have a student loan and so it's not included in your calculation, then HMRC will catch up with you at some point. Now that can take a little while, so it's far better to have the payments, sort of make the payments as they fall due, to have that taken out of your wages, rather than to get a sort of a big bill to say that this should have been deducted. So basically you need to know which plan you're on, plan 1 or plan 2, which is decided as to whether you started your course before the 1st of September 2012 or after. You need to know that yourself. You need to make sure that your employer knows, or if you're self-employed and you're submitting a self-assessment tax return, that if you're doing it yourself, you tick the box to say that you have a student loan to repay, or you let your advisor know if you're having someone else submit your tax return for you. And this is just to make sure that you pay the liability as it's due, and that will avoid having a retrospective bill that you're not expecting at a future date. So hopefully this helps you to understand how you will repay your student loan and what you need to make sure your end to make sure that everything is collected smoothly. Well, thank you very much for watching. And as I mentioned earlier, if you could please take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.